Note, all characters, events, and spoken words in this story are fictional, and is not meant to target any specific audience. Feel free to stop reading at any time and read at your own risk. There once was a noble lady named Xiao Hua. Xiao Hua was born into an era of glory where humans had expanded their colonies into the vast outer space. Space motherships, planetary colonies, mechas, and gene-awakened healing arts were common aspects of this era. Unfortunately, humans stumbled upon an ancient planet where they released alien species that they could not defeat. The alien species has grown over time and is now beginning to encroach upon the Glorious Empire's territories. Although the Glorious Federation's army was stronger and more advanced than the alien species technology-wise, the alien species had immense reproduction capabilities in addition to biological evolution. Being outnumbered, the Federation's soldiers' lives were like weed being harvested even with the advanced mecha technology on hand. Although the Federation had attempted peace talks with the alien, it all ended in failure as the alien race could not communicate with humans, and it seemed that the aliens' goal was purely the destruction of mankind. Hence, the Federation's emperor issued the order to draft more men into the army in order to fend off the worst enemy to mankind. Alas, the army has nothing to do with Xiao Hua at the moment. After all, the army is drafting men to fight. Women were deemed to be too precious to be expended on the battlefield, as most women in this era were exceptional when it came to the magical healing arts. Yes, besides the development of mechas that could fight in space, a gene potion was developed that could activate a gene in women that could grant them the ability to use the magical power of healing. Although there were rare cases where men were also able to activate the gene, women still had the upper hand in both healing power and technique, with the best healers being able to bring someone back from the brink of death. Hence, women were usually kept at the back lines to wait for injured people to be delivered to them. With the speed on transportation in this intergalactic age, there were no worries about if a soldier will make it back in time to be healed as long as they were still alive. On the other hand, the gene awakened for men helped them synchronize with mechas at a much higher rate than women. The mechas were so advanced that they now directly connect to the pilot's nervous system and brain, allowing mecha pilots to use the mecha as if it were their own body. However, one's ability in controlling the mecha depended on one's synchronization with the mecha. Unfortunately, there was no proofs that were shown to the public regarding the fact that women could drive mechas and could synchronize with mechas. Hence, women were banned from driving mechas. It was unknown when this trope began or whose evil scheme it was, but it had already been around for centuries or even longer, hence everyone gradually accepted the fact. However, Xiao Hua had no interest in the healing arts. Ever since Xiao Hua was young, Xiao Hua had fallen in love with the mechas displayed on the holographic broadcasts throughout the city. Xiao Hua has always wished that she could drive a mecha, march into battle to fight for the glory of the Federation, and be welcome home gloriously. However, when she brought up her desires to her parents, they vehemently opposed it. Besides the fact that women were banned from driving mechas, Xiao Hua's parents didn't want Xiao Hua to go to war because she was the only child they had. Still, Xiao Hua's parents couldn't help but spoil their only child. Hence, they would always buy new advanced vehicles for Xiao Hua to learn to drive. Although mechas were not an option, there were still flying cars, hoverboards, motorcycles, jets, and more vehicles that any women are allowed to drive. Being a noble household, Xiao Hua's family could afford all of these expenses. So, Xiao Hua grew up driving all sorts of vehicles, becoming a professional in most of them. Xiao Hua also received an evolving artificial intelligence, which she named Xiao Mu, to help her manage her vehicles in addition to being one of her best friends. Of course, Xiao Mu would sneakily gather info on mecha piloting under Xiao Hua's orders, and Xiao Hua would secretly memorize these piloting skills to try with her vehicles. With all of Xiao Hua's time spent on vehicles and mechas, her healing arts suffered in exchange as she had spent most of her time practicing with her vehicles instead. Of course, her parents had no worries as they were a noble household, and they had planned to find a good family for Xiao Hua to marry into eventually. There would probably be no shortage of suitors knocking on Xiao Hua's door already had it not been for the prestige of Xiao Hua's father. Xiao Hua's father was a fairly famous general on the battlefield who killed an alien mother with his squad, but was injured heavily during a battle against the alien race. He fortunately survived, but most of his squad perished in exchange. Additionally, he became plagued with occasional sickness as he grew older, hence he had to retire from the army and stay home to be nursed by Seo Hua's mother. The family of 3 thought they could live their lives peacefully like this. Unfortunately, the battle between the Federation and the alien race reached its peak as an alien mother's nest, where an entire colony of alien mothers lived together, was discovered to be invading the Federation. Even one alien mother can bring great destruction to a planet, as an alien mother could spawn an alien army indefinitely until the alien mother is destroyed. Now, a whole nest of them are invading, so a lot of colonized planets were already laid to waste as the nest began to gradually close in on the capital city. Soldiers sacrificed their lives one after another just to impede the nest's journey, even by the tiniest bit. Nuclear weapons were launched in masses, but it was only enough to delay the nest's journey a bit. Although it may still take months for the nest to reach the capital, the army knew there was no time to delay. The emperor then issued an order to the army to recall most generals and drafted soldiers rigorously, disregarding if they are young, old, healthy, or sick. A token for battle was also delivered to Seo Hua's family, as Seo Hua's father was recalled for battle. Seo Hua's father was already weak from his previous injury, and he will most likely be cannon fodder in this battle. Hence, a normal cadet's token was sent to him to recruit him to join the army as a cadet to be sacrificed. Although the family was in shock over the treatment towards a veteran, they had no choice but to abide by the order, as the Federation was ruled not by democracy, but by monarchy. The token was an identity chip with a tracker, and it must reach the designated training location within a time frame. Otherwise, the family that the token was sent to would be marked as army deserters and be sent to be executed. Even though nobles usually can simply pay for some men to take the token and stand in for them during normal war times, where will they find such a man when they're all already drafted? Heavily sighing at his impending doom, Seo Hua's father prepared to depart to the cadets' training camp the next day, as Seo Hua's mother cried in grief. Watching this in the shadows, Seo Hua clenched her fists in anger. At that moment, Seo Hua knew that she couldn't just let her father go off to die, especially since he had taken such good care of her. That night, Seo Hua secretly stole the token while the family was asleep. Then, she resolutely cut off her long, luxurious hair, dressed in her father's uniform, and hopped into her flying car. Although Seo Mu tried to dissuade Seo Hua from going, she had already made a firm decision. Hence, Seo Mu decided to tag along by downloading himself into Seo Hua's personal device and even casted a holographic disguise on Seo Hua's body to make it look like a male's body. In the silent night, Seo Hua drove to the spaceport and boarded the spaceship that came hourly to deliver new cadets to the training area. Since there are no sons in the family to take on the family's name, Seo Hua decided she will fight in the family's stead. Hence, Seo Hua embarked on her journey to prove that women can do what men can do, and maybe even better.